Now, Shelley, I was going to ask you, you had talked about a private investigator. So, how did that come about? And how did you know to start looking for a private investigator?
We had started to do quite a bit of research on our own, diving into Facebook, putting the images into Google image of the guy because Linda had shared some of the photos with us. But we really were having a hard time figuring out if this guy was real or not. I mean, every time we did that, we'd find somebody with the same name as the guy that Linda was seeing, but it just didn't ever seem to pan out. So I said, let's find a private investigator. Luckily for me, a fellow lived right down the street from me, and that's his business. And so we went ahead and he did a whole report on the name and the birth date that we were given by Linda. I don't want to disclose the name because it proved to be a true person, a real person whose identity was stolen. So that's why I'm not saying his name. But the reports would come back. And again, a lot of dead ends because the scammer was so brilliant and so sophisticated that we could not zero in on exactly where he was or who he was.
So, how did you actually pinpoint it and find out that, it was a scammer and this person's identity had been stolen?
Because I noticed a t-shirt that he was wearing in one of the photos had a logo of a gym in LA. And so I called the gym. I thought, well, maybe this guy's down there. And they said, yeah, as a matter of fact, he's the manager. And so this was late at one evening. So I thought, okay, the next day I'll call and really talk to him in person. And that's how we found out that the man was a real person and he was a manager of a gym in LA and his identity on Instagram had been stolen by the scammer. So after that, I went through his entire Instagram profile and I found all these familiar photos that I've seen of Linda's guy, the king, right there in this Instagram profile. So then I knew I could do an intervention with Linda. I could finally pull her out of the brainwash because I had solid proof that it was a scam.
However, you had solid proof, but Linda was in love. So, how did that go when you actually told her that this person that she's in love with, the person that she wants to spend the rest of her life with, is a scammer?
Elizabeth, the day that my mother and my stepfather drove to Linda's house, we did a surprise visit. But driving there, I could feel my heart breaking because I knew this was going to be a horribly difficult moment in her life because I knew how deep down she was, how deeply in love she was. My mother and I both were nervous wrecks because we didn't want her to be in pain. My stepdad went to the front door. We waited in the car and he told Linda, we have something serious to talk to you about. And we went in with a lot of love, a lot of tears, and showed Linda the Instagram account. And as heartbreaking as it was for all of us, it was also a huge relief because I could see that my sister returned to us as she sat there. Yes, you were crying, Linda.
Of
So
course.
it was awful, but I could feel her coming back to us. So it was truly a revelationary type of moment.
So, Linda, your heart was broken. I don't even know what you went through, but you're also an empath. Like, why is this bad when it comes to scammers?
Well, first of all, there was a part of me that was really relieved that it was finally coming to, it was coming out. Like the truth was out. It was over. No more trying to hide. And I am not a liar, but I was even saying things that are not like me just to cover this up because it was them that kind of some of those feelings of humiliation started to come through and shame and embarrassment. And so, yeah, I was relieved when they finally kind of confronted me. And in fact, I had been on the phone with him just before they came over. So I immediately blocked his number. And like I said, it was a relief. It was finally over. It was out in the open. The secret was there. And as an empath, I think what affected me most is I felt bad for myself. I felt really sad for myself. It was really a lot to go through. And I felt like all I wanted was just to be loved. And it cost me a lot of money to have somebody, feel that way about me, or at least, pretend to feel that way about me. So all I can say to any women that are out there, don't worry if you've gone through something like this. What you need to do is give yourself grace.
Give yourself grace and don't be ashamed, I think are two really important things for people to understand when they have been victims of scams.